Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host Utkarsh Shukla and let me introduce you to my guest Dr. Aloysia. Dr. Aloysia, thank you so much for accepting our invite.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Aloysia. So let's begin with our questions. Can you please introduce our audience about yourself, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want us to know about you?
Okay, sure. So, my name is Aloysia Ogle. I'm from South Africa and I am a medical doctor. Even though I'm South African, I think a lot of your audience will connect with the fact that I grew up in a household with an Indian dad. And so the way that I went to school and the career path that I went in was based on that background. And then I worked for a bit in clinical medicine, and then I did laboratory medicine, and then I went to forensic medicine. And while I was in forensics, I had two kids by then, and my eldest child has autism, and I didn't know at the time. And so my husband relocated to the UAE, and because it was so challenging working and studying and taking care of kids, I decided to join him in the UAE. And while there, I took a career break of 5 years. And in that time, I got to learn about my son's autism. I got to learn about it. And then I also studied diverse education to help him learn. In that time, I also started writing. I've got 3 published works about different things. So one of them is a children's book about neurodiversity and 2 other adult short stories in compilations. And while I was doing that, I accidentally realized that I liked to write and I liked to help people write, and that communicating through written word doesn't come naturally to many people. And so I found myself helping people for free. And I realized that it's something that I can earn a side income with. And so I started my own business in the UAE where I help people with different types of writing. It could be creative projects, it could be academic, it could be things for marketing or sharing written content for whatever need necessary. And so since then, I've decided to go back to medicine. And so right now I'm practicing medicine and I'm also running my small business.
That's very interesting. I think you have 2 diverged careers right now. One is in the field of medical, and you've also done forensics. Now you have moved to your own business where you are helping people write. Not only people, I think you're also helping corporate and other small businesses in order to write them. So how do you manage like doing both the things at the same time? Because nowadays most of the people are thinking of having at least 2 things on their plate through which they can earn. One is the business and one is the job, or sometimes it's vice versa for the same, right? So how do you manage these things? If you can enlighten us on the same, and what drove you to do 2 different paths, means to walk on 2 different paths at the same time?
Okay, so I would say I'm definitely in a transition phase of getting back into my first career. And so I still have quite a bit of time to work on my business, but I would definitely say that I had lots of help with my business. I was very fortunate enough to meet many female entrepreneurs who encouraged me and supported me in initiating the steps to business, because I never thought of myself as a business person. I think when you grow up with a one-track mind of academics, and studying a career. Sorry, my dog is barking in the background. And you just think this is the only thing that you're ever going to do. You don't think you can do anything else. And so starting a business was very frightening and scary. And so it was nice to have the example of other women who were brave enough to take that step and do it. So the first thing was support in taking that step. And then the next thing was also bringing a team of people with different skill sets to help support my business. And so even though I enjoy writing and I enjoy helping people with their writing, there's other different skills that I lack or I'm not as good at that other people are. So it's being able to find those people who can fill in the gap, or if they can't train me, like how do I help them as well? And you'll find in Dubai there's many struggling young people who are absolutely skilled and brilliant. And what I always aimed to achieve through my business was to help other people through it as well. So it never really was just about making money. It was just, how do I help other people through the writing and other skills, and doing it to have fun, basically.
Yeah, it's totally great. I think you just mentioned a great point. Like the people that surrounded you were very kind and generous enough to help you in your business, right? So I think that matters a lot. The people that you surround yourself with, they have a huge impact on your life. Like from your story only, I think we can take away this point, like how you mentioned people all around you have helped you throughout your path and in setting up the business. Right? So I think that's a good takeaway from this story.
Yeah, I would definitely say nothing that I've been able to achieve was all alone. And it's very important to have the right type of people around you. Even with writing my children's book, it was just an idea that came to me because it was something personal and affected me. But I'd never done it before, and I didn't know anybody who had done it before, and I didn't know who could help me. And it took time to get to that point, but it was about speaking about the idea and speaking about what I want to achieve, and allowing people to hear it and also say no to me, but also some people said yes. So it's also just being brave enough to just try. I think a lot of us also just are scared of rejection or scared of no's or think, nobody wants to help us, but there are people who do. And you have to get through enough negative experiences to find the positive ones. So it's really just about getting over that initial fear. And if you can do it one time, I think it sets you up for success for anything else that you want to achieve, because you know that no doesn't mean no forever. It's just no for now, but someone's going to say yes eventually.
Yes, I totally agree with you on this point. So, as you mentioned, your child was suffering from autism. So, and you said it was your personal story that you tried to write on the book, right? So, how you dealt with it? Because sometimes parents also become being into stress when they see their child suffering from autism or ADHD. So, how you overcome that, or what was your thought, or how what was your thought process during the whole scene that you have gone
Okay, so it took us as a family a while to get to a point of being okay with a diagnosis, I can say. And I don't think it's unique to me or my family. I think a lot of families and cultures and societies struggle with accepting difference, or something that doesn't fit into the normal, what is planned. Um, and so by the time I'd gotten to writing a book, I think I'd gone through all these different phases of dealing with having a child who's got special needs. And so, I always say it's kind of like a grief cycle, because it kind of is like grieving, because you have a vision of what your life is going to be like, and then it doesn't work out that way. So you have to grieve that process. And then once you get over that, then you can move on with your life, and you can offer the best support for your kid and other people around you. So by the time I got to the book, I'd already dealt with my depression and my denial and my anger and my, bartering, and, all the phases that go with grief, right? And then I always say in the special needs parents' journey or cycle of grief, you get to a point where you get to advocacy now. So you've gone through all the steps, you've gotten to acceptance, and once you accept, then you start to advocate. Or at least some parents do. Some people just stick with acceptance and they're okay with it and they just stick with that. So I got to advocacy, and I think just because I saw so many people around me who were still left behind or who are still struggling, I thought, I really need to help people out there. But also the fact that we live in a world that is still so behind in the thinking and is still very exclusive of not just children, but also complete families who are struggling. And so I wrote this book so that young kids can learn from a young age that it's okay to be different and how we can actually support each other and be mutually beneficial to one another. So I'm not sure if you know, but many neurodiverse kids are also very skilled and talented in different spheres and industries. And so it's more about looking at one another. What are our weaknesses? Because every one of us has a challenge. And what are our strengths? And again, every one of us has a strength. And so, how do we come together as a community and society to support each other's weaknesses, but also leverage from each other's strengths? And so, that's where I was with my children's book.
That's really awesome of you. So if I ask you for one advice that you like to give to the parents who have found out their child has been diagnosed with Autism or ADHD, what advice you would like to give?
There's so many lessons that I've learned through my child. But the one thing I can take away from that is that, every single child is growing and learning. And if you take yourself, for example, there were peers that you had in school who were doing exceptionally better than you. And there were also peers that you had in school that weren't doing as well as you. But we were all learning. It was just at different rates. And so when we have kids with special needs, it's not that they can't learn or that they will never learn. They are learning. And so it's just a matter of being okay with that pace and that rate. And then showing them and showing yourself that they actually are so gifted in so many other ways that we don't expect. And I think it's difficult. Like if I think of the Indian culture, and it's very much the same in South Africa. It's always like a quick pace of reaching an end goal with the least amount of resistance. And so when we have children or people or circumstances that put a block in the way, we struggle to pivot or redirect or jump over the hurdle. We get stuck and then we're like, oh, let's just give up. This is the end now. Like, we'll just brush this under the carpet and pretend like it's not happening to us. And we'll just move on with our lives. And then it actually becomes a kind of wound that doesn't allow us to progress and learn. And we actually lose out on so much enrichment in our lives. I would definitely say I would never be the person I am today without my child. And I would have never learned as much as I have if I hadn't made the effort to be okay with it and learn how to deal with it and help my son deal with it as well. So it's been a positive for me, and I think it could be positive for everybody who just changed their mindset or their perspective on difference and special needs, basically.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you on this point. You need to change your mindset on how you see the things. You need to be more optimistic and more friendly towards the needs. And you should know like everyone has their different ways of learning and then cooperate with the same time.
100%.
Yeah. So let's come to your business part. So do you think AI has influenced or somehow hampered the business of writing? Or what is the impact of AI right now in the writing business or writing world according to you?
So I think any change is stressful and scary for people. And I think when it comes to AI, it seems intimidating. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, this is going to end the careers of writers and it's going to take the jobs of artists and whatever the case is. But to be honest, I haven't seen superiority in AI compared to human content yet. I can't say it's not going to be like that in the next 5 to 10 years. But right now, I would rather use it as a tool to help my clients or myself rather than see it as a deterrent or to put fear in me, if that makes sense. Because even if I do use it as a tool, I still have to check it and I still have to make sure there's a human element to it. For example, if I'm using it for marketing or for business related things, um, you can't just copy and paste it. There's still an element of using your brain and your mind to make sure that it has the right sound, that it has the right feel for that business, that it portrays the heart of the company or the business, you know. So instead of being afraid of I definitely see it more as a tool to be used rather than something that's going to replace me. Um, and I actually, with a friend of mine, we did a project together. So he's a talented photographer, and the two of us decided, oh, let's see how quick we can create a book using AI. And so we spent one afternoon using AI to generate images and write content for a children's book teaching children how to take photographs, basically. And within an afternoon, we'd created all the images, we've created all the content, and there was still an element where we had to double check and make sure that everything was correct and everything was in place. And there's still the element of like uploading it for publishing, and so it's not like it completely removes us from using it, but we were able to create an entire children's book and publish it in one day, which was only a few hours. So definitely a tool, but not something to be afraid of.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty valid point. It's like a tool that you can use in order to ease your day-to-day life or in order to help you get your work. For example, checking the grammar of the blogs you are writing, or even getting few more points or making the text more beautified. But at the end, you need to operate it, and in order to make a better use of it, you need to put your inputs in it. So I totally agree with your
Exactly.
points. So, any story you like to share with us from your life, uh, either for professional or personal life? Any stories that you think should be shared with the world?
I would definitely say um, something that's changed in my life is an element of fear, which has kind of, in some instances, driven me to succeed in different areas, but also held me back or delayed my success because of fear. And so I think we need to be able, let's use the analogy of AI. We should use fear as a tool rather than a stumbling block to achieving our success, right? So it's okay to be scared and it's okay not to know something. It's okay to have a kid with special needs and you have no clue how to deal with it. It's okay to want to change your career or your profession. It's okay to go against your parents' dreams for your future and your life. It's okay. And it's okay to be scared of that. Um, because a lot of us, even though sometimes our nurture is not the best environment, we get so used to it that we have this fear that stops us from enjoying life. And so, um, my lesson or my story is that use your fear to push through your challenging situations, but also to push you to learn more so that you can overcome them. And when I say learn more, I don't mean like get a degree or go get some fancy thing or waste money. I just mean, there are people around you who've had experiences or have been in situations that you are currently facing or who know people who are. And so don't be scared to talk about things or be open about things because it makes you vulnerable or makes you seem like you don't know something. Um, be okay with not knowing and learning from other people, because if you just ask, actually, you'll get a wealth of information and knowledge that can help you. And so, yeah, use your fear to as a tool, not to stop you from achieving what you deserve.
I think that's pretty amazing answer that you have just given. It's like it's okay to be having the things that you are right now, and it's okay to ask questions and to get the knowledge from other people. It's pretty important to know the details, and you should ask questions whenever you have to, right?
Definitely, and there's no stupid questions. And I know growing up, right? So where I live in South Africa, most of the people I'm around are around Indian people. And I know Indian people like to make fun of each other and insult each other and call each other names. But again, it's okay. Like, don't be afraid of that, because when someone sees you trying and knows that you have a good intention and a good heart, that they will put that aside and they will help you eventually. So again, don't be scared, just do it. And don't feel ashamed to look like an idiot or a fool, because none of us knows everything all the time. And we shouldn't be deterred from looking like we don't know, because it's worse to go through a situation not knowing and not having the tools, rather than initially looking like a fool but then getting the tools that you need to move forward and do it well.
I totally agree with you. So, do you face? I know you must have faced many challenges while setting up your business and working on it as an owner of a company. So, what do you think is the biggest challenge for anyone who is starting a company, or what's the biggest challenge that you have faced till now as a business owner?
Okay, so my business is still quite young, and I think I've been also very privileged to have a husband and partner who's encouraged me to just try even if I fail. And that's a very liberating feeling, because many people are so afraid of failing and they don't have enough voices around them telling them, listen, this could fail. Or listen, this can take up to 3 to 5 years before you can actually see success. And so they give up really quickly because they're not prepared for the next short term outcomes. So again, speaking to people and getting information and knowledge before you start primes you to be ready to succeed eventually. Okay, so I wouldn't say that was a hurdle, because I think going into it, I was prepared, because I knew, okay, I might fail in the next 3 to 5 years, and but it's okay, because this happens to every business. So yeah, but this is just a tip or tool for anybody who wants to start a business, that you have to be prepared to invest in failure. And the thing is, when you invest in failure, there's so many lessons you actually take away from it, that when you do try again, or if you need to change things up a bit, there's so much value add in that failure that you do eventually succeed. Okay. Then I would definitely say some challenges are, um, for me specifically, because I come from a background of caring for people and a job or jobs where you get a salary every month. There's a level of security in knowing you're getting a salary and you're just helping people. So for me specifically, my challenge is I'm not a salesperson and I struggle to sell myself. And so definitely acquiring the skills or getting the help to promote myself and market myself um, was something I had to work on. Thankfully, I've got enough experience, or people know me enough to know the type of work that I have, that I haven't really had to push it that much. And it's just been through referral or word of mouth from previous work that I've done that I got any business. But if I wanted it to grow into something significant, that is an area or challenge that I would have to work on intentionally, so that I did succeed in business, basically.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. I think everyone should know that there are chances to be fail in a business, and you also coming from that background, you just told us that how your husband, being your partner, also helped you a lot in order to come over. So I think it's pretty important to have a right-minded partner with you, either a business partner or a life partner, that you have just mentioned. So I
Yeah.
think these are the outcomes that we can take from your answers.
No,
Yeah,
definitely. Again, I think it's just the recurring thing that we've mentioned. It's very important to surround yourself with people who align with your vision and who can be positive influences. Because so many people I also spoke to would tell me, no, don't waste your time. It's a waste of money. It's not worth doing. Just do nothing. Um, but again, through all those negative voices, there were a few positive ones that I chose to listen to and be encouraged by. So it's definitely the people you surround yourself with and the lessons you learn. Um, and sometimes people can say nasty things, but you can also learn from that as well. So it's just like growing a thick skin and being okay with whatever people throw at you, but then still being able to learn through each experience.
totally agree with you. So, what is your dream right now? What is that one thing you would like to achieve apart from your business?
um, okay, so one thing that I was struggling with most recently was whether or not I should go back to my initial career. And that brought me a lot of anxiety because I'd been out of my profession for so long, for so many years. And I just felt like I was so out of touch and that I'd forgotten everything and that I would be a bad doctor if I decided to. And should I? Am I making a good choice? How is this going to impact everybody in my life? And but again, I was like, okay, you've been through this fear moment, you've dealt with anxiety before. Are you going to allow it to just stop what you want to achieve, or are you going to just try anyway? And so I tried anyway. And in the last, I would say, 7 to 8 months, like I've got my confidence back and I've been able to find people who want to show me the way and tutor me and bring me back to the level that I was at before I left. And so um, my short-term dream is to really just be back into my profession and practicing as a safe and good doctor, and that I can bring a value add to people who need my help and services, basically. So I think, especially as a woman, many women have to like stop their careers for whatever reason. And sometimes it's so hard to go back because we get filled with self-doubt, or people tell us we won't be able to get back there, or we're just afraid to just try. Um, I don't know if I'm going to be a doctor forever, but for now, that's my goal.
Yeah, I think I hope you achieve it soon, and you are already doing the same in order to be in that profession again. So thank you so much, Aloysia, for this insightful session. I learned a lot from you, like how to deal with the situation, and sometimes you need to make sure that it's okay with what you are going through, and you need to accept the thing and be optimistic on the path that you are following right now, and be optimistic throughout the journey,
Yeah.
and find a better surrounding for yourself in order to achieve success and grow more. Thank you so much for your insights. It was really a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for having me. It was great being here.